If 200 Stab Wounds had to be a horror movie, what horror movie would it be, do you think?
Yeah, probably House of a Thousand Corpses, just because of how like wild that movie is.
I think it's like the modern day version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that movie. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre for like being from here. Yeah, I'm not too far from that farmhouse either.
No way. So I have the wonderful Ray of 200 Stab Wounds with me today. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, dude.
Awesome, man. Almost ready to unleash the new record upon the world.
Oh, dude, big time, man. It's been a long time coming for sure.
So I guess to kind of kick things off, what are some of the themes that are explored on the record? I can imagine they're probably quite gruesome.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a lot of the lyrics this time, it's not necessarily like imagery brutal, but brutal in the sense that it's like a real life person is influencing like the brutality of, like in the lyrics.
Oh, cool. What, so is it, so it's all based around one particular person, like the whole album?
I'm not sure if it's just one particular person or multiple people, but I know it's, real life, shit instead of just like, um, like an unknown, just like imaginary entity.
So I was wondering in terms of like, the lyrics, like what would you say are some of the most twisted lyrics that you guys have got on the new record?
I mean, Gross Abuse has some pretty brutal lyrics in there. We have a music video coming out for that one. There's like a lot of like gore and kind of stuff like that where the video doesn't necessarily follow the timeline of the lyrics, but the things that are happening in the music video um are alluding to the lyrics. Peeling of skin and like heads exploding and shit like that. It's like basically like a pretty just like a torture scene essentially.
That's awesome, man. What was the writing process like for the album?
Steve, usually what he does is he'll like get the he'll have his riffs and then he'll lay down like a drum track in GarageBand and then him and Ezra will go back and forth on lyrics and then experiment with different things like synths and everything like that.
I think it's probably more synth heavy than it has been in the past, right? This record.
Yeah, I mean like yeah, because we have the little interlude in there where it's basically just like a whole instrumental. Think of it as like walking through like a dark alley, like a detective like kind of theme
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah.
the way the synth and the riffs are in that song for
Hmm.
sure, and a lot more like acoustic and clean guitars than there were before.
Yeah, man. There's almost, like a dare I say, prog in here, which
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
is really
sure.
cool.
Yeah, sure, a little bit. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the way Steve writes has always been, not repeating very many riffs and just like kind of one riff leads to another riff that leads to another riff, and in that sense, it is kind of like a bit of a, you know, a progressive kind of vibe, even though it not necessarily is.
So if 200 Stab Wounds had to be a horror movie, what horror movie would it be, do you think?
Man, that's a good question. I'm saying I'm thinking of like our personalities, like when we're like in the van and shit. So like, yeah, probably House of a Thousand Corpses, just because of how like wild that movie is. It kind of like fits how we are as people a little bit, you know. But
For sure,
yeah,
man.
yeah, I'd definitely go with that one. I think.
I think it's like the modern day version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that movie. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre for like being from here. But
Yeah, man, you gotta represent home.
yeah, yeah, big time. Yeah, I'm not too far from that farmhouse either.
No way.
It's about like 3 hours south of from where I'm at.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, they got actually a the like gas station stuff. They actually serve barbecue there, and actually made it kind of like a little bit of a like a tourist attraction.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Dude, that's really awesome. Have you ever been?
I haven't, but I have tons of friends that have gone and
Mhm.
said it's like super fucking cool.
That's cool, man. That'll be the next 200 Stab Wounds photo shoot.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in the realm of possibilities for sure.
Oh, sweet man. So speaking of all things that are gruesome, how did you guys come up with the artwork? Because it's pretty it's pretty brutal. I love it.
Man, yeah, Ezra actually had a lot to do with that. He was in contact with the Filth Effigy guy quite a bit, and just wanted something like really fucking just brutal, really sick. And then we had on the inside cover, um, we had Ezra's dad take pictures, all of us in like different positions, and then had it drawn with our heads cut off on a platter. Like so, like on the inside when you open it, it's going to be all four of our heads, like on a plate each, on an individual plate, and it's pretty sick. Yeah, we all look pretty fucking like so we're all in like different states of decomposition on it as well, so that's pretty fucking cool.
I also wanted to ask, I know that the single has literally just come out with Jami Morgan on it, but how did that kind of come about? What made you want to kind of choose him as a as a collaborator?
Well, I mean, like for starters, like Ezra and Steve have been playing in various bands like since they were like 16, and have been playing shows with Code Orange pretty much as long as they've been playing shows. So like they've known all of those dudes forever,
Oh,
like
no way.
So it was just kind of like they already knew him, and then it was just kind of something different, like other than getting like just another like death metal person, which I mean that's cool too, but um yeah, I mean it's different and it sounds like it adds like a diverse sound in there, especially when he comes in, for sure that it's someone different, and then if you listen to Code Orange, it's Jamie too. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it was yeah, it was cool, and he wrote his own lyrics for that too, and he did it within like I want to say he did it in a day. Like we were like, "Yo, do you think you could do this? Like we have like the deadline coming up." He's like, "Yeah, no problem. Got that shit done. Send it over." And we're like, "Cool, that sounds fucking awesome." So it was really cool.
It's cool though, because I think, there's kind of like a weird sort of crossover with 200 Stab There's, it's very much like rooted in death metal, but there's also the hardcore idea with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, we all like grew up like I mean, like I mean, being in Dallas, like I grew up, listening to hardcore and stuff. But I mean, I've always listened to death metal. I've always wanted to be in a death metal band.
Hmm.
Um, there's a point where I feel like death metal got too, like too technical and too like much going on, and I always wanted to like go back to older shit. And I think that's has been the general consensus of everybody. And I know, like, like I said, Ezra and Steve have been playing since they were like kids too, and we're always in like either hardcore or black metal bands, or Steve's most recent band before Stab Wounds was like a thrash metal band. So we've always been like locked in with like the hardcore scene, even though necessarily we weren't in hardcore bands per se, but um, adding just like the attitude and like the rhythms of that really kind of shine through.
Yeah, man. Well, it's pretty wild that, you literally released one album and you signed to Metal Blade. That's, it's a huge achievement.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a very like humbling thing, and very yeah. I mean, it's fucking awesome. Like you couldn't ask for like a better scenario, especially like working with a label as legendary as Metal Blade, who've pretty much put out everybody that's ever been sick for the most part.
What is it that drew you to death metal from the word go?
The brutal aspects of it. Part of it, it like pissed my mom off. Like, not that it pissed her off, but it like scared her, and I was like, that's kind of cool. For the most part, like I think I first started listening to like heavier stuff like that, like around because I had a friend that was in eighth grade, so around fourth grade, I would probably start getting into like heavier shit like Pig Destroyer and stuff like that. And before that, it's just like fucking I don't know, like AC/DC and Led Zeppelin, and you just think that's like what it is, and then you just like are shown, no, dude, check this shit out, and you're just like, whoa, what the fuck is that? And, like you just like all these crazy like everything's really fast, and
Yeah.
the riffs are really fast, the vocals are like as a kid you're like, holy shit, it's kind of scary, but it's like also like it's kind of like how a horror movie is. You're like, this is scary, but like it's fucking awesome. And I
Yeah.
think it's they both go kind of hand in hand. So yeah, I mean that's kind of what brought me in is just musicianship, the eeriness of it all.
Hmm.
It's all cool.
Hell yeah, man. So what do you think what's your opinion on the current death metal scene, the modern death metal scene? I feel like it's very much kind of like having an upswing at the minute.
Dude, man, I haven't seen it stronger. I mean, like I remember going to shows like 10 years ago where it'd be like Black Dahlia Murder and Nile like on the same bill. And there wasn't that many people there, but where like if you had that lineup right now, there would be so many fucking people there. And like this is still in Dallas, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely been a major upswing. And I think a lot of that has to do with just a lot of bands just going back to the roots and just focus on being heavy and brutal rather than um as technical as possible or as fast as possible. A lot of bands just focused on musicianship, and the only people that could really, really get down with it are like, um, fellow musicians. So, um, the people rediscovering bands like, Obituary and Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel and shit, which, all those bands have technical shit, but so like really like focusing down on like the nitty gritty of like heaviness and brutality, I think is really was bringing people back into it. And then this and like as much as people want to hate on it, like the little aspect of like the hardcore shit being thrown in there, it adds something that's like something new to a genre that's been around for almost 40 years now. So
That's
I think
yeah,
it's
that's a
cool.
really good point actually, man, for sure. And it keeps the energy up as well, like even
Hmm.
if you don't know what the song is, you can still kind of like headbang to it, right?
Hmm. Yeah, people want to mosh, people want to headbang, they want to groove to something. Even as someone who like likes to solo, I'm not gonna write a song just to like have a solo in there. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
if it doesn't need a solo, I don't think like it needs to be there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not soloing for the sake of soloing is just kind of like a fucking jerk off fest. So
Kind of finish up. What does this record represent to you, in terms of like you as a musician, what you've created and everything?
I think what it like represents for us as a band is like um, you know, uh evolving, but not evolving too much. You know what I mean? Like in a way that it's going to be an entirely different band, but evolving in the sense that our sound is going to continue to grow, and we're going to try different things. And if it works, it does. If it doesn't, we're not going to do it probably. We're always going to be, heavy. We're always going to be groovy. We're always going to be brutal. That's always going to be like, the bottom line for every like record that we put out. But we're always going to try, like more acoustic shit, or what I mean. Like this album has more acoustic shit, so we like, did that more clean shit, more synth based stuff. Maybe like in the future we do like sample based stuff, or incorporate I don't know, like a fucking organ, or
Yeah.
like orchestra sounds. I mean, who fucking knows? Like as
Yeah,
long as
yeah,
it
yeah.
sounds good and it sounds brutal, um, that's just gonna be our thing.
Sweet. Well, yeah, thank you so much for, coming on to have a chat. I really, really appreciate it. And the record is really, really good. Like really,
Thanks, dude.
really good, man.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate that for sure.
All right, dude. Well, thank you ever so much. It's been a real pleasure. Take care.
Dude, fuck yeah, dude. Have a good day.